All right, good deal, good deal. Well, at this time, I will turn things over to our very special guest. We have Jeremy Tang here with sharkindicators.com, and I'll type that website in. It's a very impressive looking website, so definitely recommend you guys going and taking a look. But Jeremy, you can go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Morgan. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me okay, and if my levels are decent, you just give me a little holler in the room there if you can hear me okay. Good. Okay. I will not. Okay. Sound is too low. Okay. I'll boost it a little bit, and I'll try to speak up a little bit as well. Okay. So, thanks for that generous introduction, Morgan. He mentioned that I'm a trader and a programmer. Now, I would definitely consider myself a programmer first and a trader second. And certainly having seen what I've seen with a lot of the stuff that some of our customers are able to do with our system, our software tool makes me look like a babe in the woods. I tell you, like some of the stuff will just um, really blow me out of the water in terms of what I'm able to do from a trading perspective. Um, and just give me a second. I'm gonna try to mute my there. I was just told there's a bit of an echo there, so I hope that's okay. Um, so today's topic is about robotic trading, and really, whenever you say robotic, you sort of think of some esoteric and kind of far-fetched type trading that's far out of the reach of the average retail trader. And I can see why, definitely, because as we're going to go on and explain, there's a lot of barriers that sort of are uh, they'll stop you from getting to that point. Um, well, not every one of our customers are actually full robotic traders by any means. I mean, we have a lot of discretionary traders that use our product as well. So I'll explain as well like how that all works. But before I kind of go on this really interesting topic, I'm going to talk a little bit about the current state of affairs, if you will, in trading today. Um, so essentially, like if you've been around for a little while and if you've sort of watched landscape trading, uh, you'll start to notice that discretionary trading, and at least in the top hedge funds and whatnot, they used to have a lot of these trading desks where people called the shots on a manual basis. And quickly they discovered that they can move more to a computational and algorithmic type trading, and that tends to rule the day in terms of if you look at those traders that used to sit in the rooms and yell and scream and their buy and sell orders, like they've largely been replaced by computers, and there's certainly no coincidence for that. Um, and as a consequence, you have these big firms with a lot of resources and a lot of software developers and computing power, and they're really widening this gap between what retail traders are able to do, and what they're able to do. And it's a great deal to do with the tools involved and the capital necessary to get there. Um, why are we interested in robotic trading in the first place? Well, there are some big advantages to robotic trading that aren't available to manual traders. Um, not just the fact that robots basically can execute trades without emotion. Um, and I'm sure you've heard if you've listened to any sort of trading commentary, you'll probably hear over and over again that you got to control your emotions to be able to trade properly, to trade effectively. Um, you know, that's practically absent in a robotic trade, because computers just simply don't have that. Robotic traders as well, or algorithmic trading can lend itself to looking at many different markets uh, and execute trades very quickly, much faster than a human can react. So on you have sort of a spectrum now. You have on one side you have some of those firms that are executing trades on like the millisecond level, and you know they have their machines on the on the floor next to the exchange with the fastest possible lag time, lowest possible lag time between their computational systems and the feed they get from the exchange itself to arbitrage these really tiny opportunities. Um, and there's all sorts of crazy games that go on in that micro level that even I'm not even privy to and aware of. But on the other side of the spectrum, there's sort of algorithmic um, driven trades that even could be on a daily basis or even a weekly basis. Like there are a lot of hedge funds that use algorithms to determine when to go in and out, on a positional basis, using quantitative techniques and whatnot. Now, what we have is something kind of in the middle, and I'll kind of get into that in a little bit. But the point I kind of want to drive home about robotic trading is the fact that it really lends itself to the idea of systematic trading. And if you're new to trading and you don't really have a system or methodology, then honestly, you're really just kind of shooting from the hip. And unfortunately, that means that your results will tend to be very unpredictable, kind of all over the place, much like your entries and your exits. And if you ever try to make a living that way, it's very difficult. If you want to have a chance at this business and be really serious at it, you really got to have some sort of methodology, some sort of system, and therefore some ability to get predictable results. Because let's face it, I mean, if you have random results all over the place, you may make a lot of money one month, but lose it all the next, and it's really not a way to be able to feed your children. So one of the reasons why like successful traders are like the great thing about sort of starting this or offering this tool out there is I've been able to see a lot of successful traders out there use our tool, and kind of one of the things that we find that they do that is different in terms of habits than say beginner traders or traders that are still struggling is they just simply have they go about their business completely differently in terms of the work is really done after market hours, doing lots and lots of research, hitting the chart and studying them, and I don't just mean looking at charts for patterns. I don't they'll take it one step further than that, because anybody can just open up a chart and start to look at a couple indicators and say, yeah, that looks like it could be a good signal. Well, how do you know it really is a good signal? 3 months ago, counting 1,000 different trades over 10 trades a day or whatever it may be, have you done the math? Have you gone through and actually gone through and done each entry and actually checked if it worked and made profit and what were your losses, what were your drawdowns? That's all part of the research phase. This is all sort of part of the backtesting phase, which a lot of retail traders tend to skip. And honestly, if you're not really doing this step, you're basically shooting in the dark. And it's not so much that people don't want to do this. It's just that there really isn't the tools available to do it. And what I'm talking about is, like to be able to research your trade systems, you got to be able to build them first. And basically, when you build them, then only can you test and you can analyze them, and then only can you actually execute and iterate and improve your systems. Without the ability to build your system in the computer, none of those things can really follow through, at least in an efficient way. I mean, there are certainly people that will go out and create huge Excel spreadsheets and whatnot, and manually track each trade, and for sure that takes a lot of time. And I definitely don't envy those people like that. I mean, sorry, I envy those people in terms of if they have the patience to be able to go through that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, I'm sorry guys. I am in a bit of a small office with a lot of echo here, so I hope the echo is not too annoying. But uh, well, what I want to get into next is really how you two can as well sort of join this game and become part of it. Um, so at the moment, I mean, really, if you want to model your trade system on the computer, uh, you have to. In most of the trading platforms today, you can program it in. But of course, that requires you to be able to know how to program or code a system from scratch, and that's a fair bit of work. Um, Alternatively, you could hire someone to do it for you. That's, of course, a pretty expensive proposition. And as you'll see, if you've got the good habits in terms of what professional traders do, in terms of what I've seen, they don't just sit still. They don't just create one system and let it go. They create one system and iterate. Like I've seen some of the best traders I've seen, their system practically changes every week. So they're always adding and fiddling and tweaking it. And certainly, if you were to hire someone to sort of keep up with you for that, that's going to be pretty damn expensive. Um, or you could buy someone else's system. Um, you know, and of course, buying someone else's system has there's some pros and cons to that. One, it may or may not get you started quicker, but ultimately, to gain confidence and to be able to trade a system with confidence, which of course is the big deal here. You know, you want to have to verify it and back test it and make sure it works with your risk profile. Your trade system tends to be quite, it tends to be a fairly personal affair in terms of what kind of risk you're willing to endure. And someone's trade system may be, not aligned with your risk profile. And of course, that is quite significant because if someone else is willing to sit through a fairly big loss to eventually to get a good, get a good winning trade and a winner, and you're not, well, you're going to end up losing while that person would have won. So, you know, there's a lot of caveats there in terms of adopting someone else's system. I'm not saying, of course, that's you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that if you do, just make sure that the system it works for you. And of course, if you have with prudence, you definitely want to back test it. So, um, so what we offer here, guys, is not actually is not a system. We offer a tool to build your own system. Okay, so um, this is where our company comes in, and the tool that we built will allow you to do. So what we offer is a tool that allows you to create and model your own trade systems without having to code it. You use a very nice little kind of node manipulation interface, and then you can change it and iterate on it really quickly. You can backtest with it, and eventually you can auto trade it. So it allows you to kind of do all those things without having to code things from scratch, um, which is really kind of a missing piece, I'd say, in the marketplace. It really isn't anything out there like this at the moment. So maybe I should just dive in here and sort of give this software a bit of a test drive so you could see. And just a caveat, I'm really just kind of throwing this together not as a recommended trading system in any way. I'm really just kind of showing you a couple of very simple aspects of what the software can do, so that you can so you can see what the building blocks are like, so you can actually go ahead and build your own system, because every system is different. And certainly, I'm not the one that's type to tell you, you should try to look for this kind of, indicator action before you go in or whatever. I'm just going to show kind of an example of what you can detect, and then you can sort of use your own imagination from that point forward to see what you want to create a system that works for you. So to kind of, before I do this, I want to explain the first piece that I'm going to build here is looking at price swing trends. And have you ever taken a chart before and just sort of map out the actual price swings there's some very basic rules. You know, my first learned trading, there's some basic rules in terms of, you know, you want to trade with the trend, not against it. You know, of course, that doesn't always hold true in every case. There are a lot of counter trend trade systems out there that I've seen that work just perfectly fine trading against the trend. You know, but this particular one, I just want to show you what it looks like to identify a trend. And the whole idea is you take your price swings and you get these higher highs or higher lows. That's sort of indicating you've got a bullish trend. And likewise, if you're getting these lower highs and lower lows, you get the you get a bearish trend. Okay, so let me share my desktop here. And actually, yeah, sorry, I'm getting complaints that I'm getting a lot, you guys are getting a lot of echo. And maybe I'll just move the mic a little closer to my mouth and speak a little softer, and that might actually be a little better. So, all right, let me know if that's okay. Is that okay? Okay. All right, so, yeah, I'll stand a little bit far from the mic there. Okay, let me just move in real quick. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to share my monitor, and hopefully you guys can let me know if you see anything okay. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll stick with this from now on. I'll move the mic a little closer to my mouth. That's a little more comfortable for me as well. Okay, so what I got here is just a chart of the CL, and I'll just, you know, I'm just using simulated data, guys. So again, I'm not here to show you kind of a winning system, quote unquote. I'm just here to show you some of the mechanics of our software. All right, so what I've got here is the CL 150 tick, and if you're familiar with NinjaTrader, you know, a lot of this stuff will be kind of nice for you, but essentially, you know, one of our indicators here is called the price swing action here. It's called SI swings, and essentially we're just mapping out the price swings and the pivot points here. So as I was talking to you earlier, and this will be a little clearer if I move back a bit, but you can see when we start getting these higher highs and higher lows, right? So when this thing pivots down here, it comes back up, we get a low established right here, but it's lower, it's higher than this low. This is what we call kind of basically an uptrend. And conversely, if we go back here, you know, this is kind of like more of a downtrend, right? So we got this low here being established, but it's lower than this low up here. So that's a lower low. This is a lower high. This is a little high being established before it goes back down, but it's lower than this high up here. So that's a bearish trend. So I'm just going to throw in our software, and the way you do that is you go to indicators, and our software is called BloodHound, and I'm just going to pop it on the screen right now, and you see a bunch of green bars on the bottom there, and that's basically the output from our software. And sorry, I'm saying no sound. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Sound back? No sound? Okay, good. Okay, hopefully we don't have any more technical issues holding us back here. Okay, so I can open up the BloodHound dialog by just clicking on the top of the chart like that. And I'm just going to go ahead and add the swing trend, which will instantly map, and I have the sensitivity actually changed a little bit to 4 here. And it'll instantly mark up my chart. And if you notice, if you're sort of familiar with NinjaTrader, you notice that you know, normally you'd actually have to you'd have to open up the indicator window, hit OK, let the thing refresh. With BloodHound, everything is kind of in real time, so things are a little bit quicker. But you can see how it's basically marked the areas where it's identified lower highs and lower lows being established, and the areas where higher highs and higher lows are being established, sort of giving you an overall trend. Okay. So that's a really simple, you know, little tool that you can add here, but you know, that's kind of one easy way to put a system together, but I'm just going to add another layer to that. And on here, you see I've got like the simple moving average. I believe I set this one to 50. All right, so I got an SMA 50 in this white line here, and just sort of following a very simple idea. Let's sort of create a long signal anytime our price bar breaks above this SMA 50. Okay, so we're going to create a long signal anytime we break above the SMA 50. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this first one off and go ahead and do the crossover. So I can, as you can see, I've got a bunch of different options here, but I'm going to add the crossover. And I'm going to compare the price to the SMA 50. And as soon as I hit OK, you can see basically BloodHound has now marked the chart wherever we've had a crossover event with the price crossing above or below the SMA 50 line. So you can see here, and of course, this signal in its by itself probably wouldn't do so well. But this is kind of where the power of BloodHound comes in, is in the ability to layer in your own sort of custom logic and multiple criteria together. So, for example, here I'm breaking above the 50. You can see that there's a nice green line there. And here's an interesting situation where it's popped above and then popped immediately below. So we have this kind of up-down signal here. So let's go ahead and layer them together. So the easiest way to do this, and I'm sort of keeping it really simple right now, is to just click both criteria on. And if you kind of draw your eyes down to the bottom, you'll see where the original trend indicator used to be. Kind of gives you sort of a half green bar. And then when the two are combined, and when you get both of them sort of agreeing with each other, as you had here, so this, it's hard to see, but that tiny little bar would dip below and then crossed above, and then continued on downwards. So that wasn't a good signal, but nonetheless, it did follow the rules. You've got basically a green marking there. So here's another one where it crossed above just briefly, and then the next bar crossed below, and it agreed with the swing trend at the time. And so now I've got a criteria that basically is looking for a crossover event for the price and the swing trend to agree with each other. Okay, so that was a really simple demonstration of just adding two simple elements together. But with our system, we have kind of many other ways to do this. And now I'm just going to move over to the logic tab so you can see kind of where we can go with this eventually. And I'm just going to really just throw in some random things here, but bring back our original criteria, put them together this time with a node. Let's keep it simple. So the AND node basically just means I want both of these criteria to agree with each other before you give me a signal. And as you see, as I put the AND node and I connect it together, we get the exact same result that we had before. But now here we can do some pretty fancy stuff. I mean, say we got another criteria, and perhaps it's if you look down my chart, I've got the stochastics here. I got the MACD. This is the histogram as well. We can probably think of something here. Just I'm just kind of randomly going along here, so I'm winging it a little bit. But let's just say we have a criteria saying I want the momentum to agree as well. And I want the histogram to be above 0 when I want to take a long condition, and I want the histogram to be below 0 on the short side only. So I don't even want to look at trades unless they agree with the MACD. And kind of looking at the chart here, it probably wouldn't change much except for maybe this guy right here. But nonetheless, let me throw it in there. Okay. Let's see. So we want, in this case, an indicator threshold. And what I can do is I can plug this guy right into the result node, so I can look at just this one component by itself and see how it affects the system. And I'm going to select the MACD now. All right, and I believe I have my MACD set for different parameters, so let me just hit OK there real quick and just take a peek over the parameters. So I had the 8, 17, and 9, so I'm going to just to illustrate, you could actually change your parameters, obviously, and do whatever you want. And this works for any indicator on your system, including, third-party indicators, or maybe indicators even you've written or designed yourself or downloaded from the internet. So it's, you can really use any one of those, any indicator you have on your system. Okay, so the histogram is known as a diff. So I'm going to select the diff plot. Now this particular indicator has a couple different plots. The MACD has three components, in fact, and we're interested in the diff. And again, we want to go measure to be above or below the 0 line, and it's really just a simple matter of marking these output values. And immediately you can see how BloodHound has just basically mimicked the MACD. Okay, so when you're trading with BloodHound, you don't actually need the MACD on there. You don't need the EMA. You could use it sort of when you're building your system, but when you're all done, you could just clear your chart and just have your pure signals in there, and not have to worry about putting these other indicators on there, because they're all sort of in the computation already. So I'm going to switch this into the AND node. So now we have 3 criteria that have to be met before you take a trade. And as you can see, this is probably not the best system. Like, I'm just sort of throwing components together as we go along. But you can see that in this situation here, the MACD agrees. It says its histogram is below 0. We've pierced just below the 50 line, and we're in a downtrend with lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so all three criteria agree. So you can see, like, if you've got fairly complicated criteria for your trade system, you're able to sort of construct fairly complicated logic if you want to, and not have to sort of keep track of this while you're trading live. So this is perfectly legitimate in terms of, I know a lot of our customers are actually discretionary traders and prefer to manage the trades on a discretionary basis still. They use BloodHound to help them mark their entries, and then they can still, using their own sort of mental filters and experience, they can still go in and actually decide to execute the trade or not. So I've seen a lot of people do that, and do quite successful with that, actually. However, if you want to actually auto trade this stuff, you certainly can. So let me do a quick demo of how that works. Okay, so I've got a kind of a simpler system. Actually, I'm just going to throw together a really quick system, and you see how fast I can just sort of put this together without too much effort. But I've got another chart here, and just because I could sort of force these signals to happen a lot quicker, I'm going to use a very simple system, namely a crossover here with the 2 and 10 simple moving average. Okay, so on this chart here, I've got a sort of a blue line or turquoise line, and that's the 10 moving average, and this is the 2. And again, I'm just doing this for illustrative purposes. So I'm going to put in actually, I'm going to go ahead and add a strategy, which in NinjaTrader is basically the way you create something that can take positions and actually exit and manage positions. So a strategy is different than an indicator in NinjaTrader. I should have mentioned the software runs on top of NinjaTrader, and currently that's the only software it does work with. So I have a couple questions in there asking, does it work with MT4? Does it work with multi-charts? Currently, it just works with NinjaTrader. We made that decision because NinjaTrader is probably the most flexible platform out there in terms of extensibility, and just from a standpoint of a business case, it made the most sense for us. Okay, so let me just address this real quick. So Bill's asking, do you have pre-packaged strategies? Well, we are actually working towards that. I'm not sure how much I want to sort of let in on our strategy in terms of our business and what we're looking towards, but we do want to eventually allow traders and users to share and even sell their own strategies in sort of a marketplace, kind of like an app store. Now that hasn't, that's still on the drawing board, but that's kind of where we're headed. The reason being is because, like I said, there's a lot of customers we have that have just mind-blowing systems. Frankly, put it this way, I know there's people saying, hey, you can't pick tops and bottoms. Well, I've seen some of our customers do that. So, you know, it's amazing what some people can do. And I think, you know, I think the community as a whole will benefit a great deal from, you know, being able to share these strategies. But for now, we do have a tremendous number of examples on our site. And some of these are pretty good systems in their own right. I will show you where they are later, but let me just sort of continue here. Someone's asking if it can be used for candlestick reversals and breakout strategies. You know, there's definitely a lot of candlestick type strategies out there, and as long as you can sort of describe it in the indicators, you certainly can. You can actually use the built-in candlestick detector in NinjaTrader and just plug that into BloodHound and read those. So absolutely, you sure can. You can certainly do breakout strategies in terms of, you know, I mean, it depends on how your breakout strategy is constructed, but you certainly can, you know, detect when your price is moving in or out of certain zones and that sort of thing against certain indicators. So yeah, all those things are fairly possible, and I'd even say fairly straightforward with our software. Okay, so let me just get on with what I was getting at here. So I wanted to show you real quick, guys, like how this thing can auto trade. So I'm just going to do a quick crossover, 210 crossover, which is the simplest. I'm sorry, folks, I forgot to sort of set my phone on mute here. So let me just do that real quick. And any of you guys that use Android, I just recently switched to Android from Apple, and the phone's messaging SMS sounds like a doorbell. Okay, so let me save this as the two. Okay, I already had one defined, but oops, I meant to actually save that, not open it. Okay, so let's do that again real quick. Okay, so 210 cross, and I'm just going to do this because I know I can force the signals to happen really quickly with the simulated. And let's go 210 cross trading pub. All right, hit OK there, and no entry logic. Let's just go. This is really cool, guys. Okay, so if you are familiar with NinjaTrader and what's called the ATM trader, all right, I can actually get the system to fire off ATMs, and this will give you some really neat flexibility with managing your trade. So let's just put that on right now, and I'm going to force a. So as you can see, as soon as I did that, all the buy and sell signals have gone in there, and I'm just going to force the trend up here and force this guy to cross over the aqua line there. And kind of while it's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and look and see if there's any questions here. We're still getting some complaints with no sound. I hope you guys can still hear me though. Carl's asking, can Fibonacci's Elliott or cycle systems be developed with this software? Fibonacci's is actually something we are working on at the moment. Elliott and cycle systems, well, that really depends on if you've got another kind of indicator out there that has Elliott or cyclic data that's sort of being shared. You can certainly plug that into BloodHound and use that. So BloodHound doesn't kind of corner you and force you to create systems in any particular fashion, but what it will do is it'll read other indicators that you may have. So if you've got a Fibonacci indicator, you got okay, so that's, let me just interrupt there. So that's the actual order being generated automatically there with Raven, which is a counterpart and included with BloodHound. And as you can see, the position's been taken, and my my stop moved to break even there. That's just because the ATM is that's the ATM I designed, but this is really neat. And the target was just filled, but I was, just before that happened, I was going to try to show you that you can actually intervene and manually change the stops and targets as it's trading, which is a really cool feature with the ATMs. Let me switch this up a little bit and use the ATM2, because I think the ATM2 has multiple targets in there, and that's kind of cool to see. So let me just switch that up to ATM2, and we'll let that sort of brew while I answer some more questions. Okay, so Bill, ATMs are NinjaTrader's automated trade management component, and basically, if you're a discretionary trader with NinjaTrader, you'll be very familiar with them in terms of you can set up, like here's an example, you can set up how you want the trade to evolve over time. So this particular ATM, my ATM2, will basically place 4 contracts on. The first 3 will be with a stop loss of 10, a profit target of 10. My second will be sort of my runner, if you will, which has a wider stop and a wider profit target. So, this, you can use BloodHound's or you can use Raven's capability to enter on a trade automatically with these. All right, so we'll see that one go as soon as it crosses over. That's why I love NinjaTrader, guys. If you're not using NinjaTrader, I definitely recommend checking out. It's got some really cool, powerful features like that, and it is free to try NinjaTrader. In fact, it's free as long as you don't want to trade actual live money. As soon as you want to trade with live contracts, you got to buy a full license. But it actually works with well with many different brokers out there. So okay, so Carl's asking about how about trend line? Do you mean trend line? If trend line is basically kind of a another indicator. Oops, did I turn on the? Okay, actually, the crossover will occur on this bar. Trend line, if that's basically a third-party indicator, yeah, it'll work with it as long as it plots something. And then, of course, there's many ways you can define trend as when you're creating a system. You could be looking at slope. You could be looking at, as we saw earlier, the price swing actions that we were using earlier. There's many ways to go ahead and do that. So Carl, maybe you can elaborate a little bit. So Neil is asking, can it execute bracket type orders with multi-lots? So, as long as you can sort of do that with the ATM, which we're going to see right in a second here, we're actually going to execute an order with multiple pieces to it. You can certainly do that, yes. William's asking, can you program like Prodigo with logic block and math functions? And William, I've heard of Prodigo, but I'm actually not familiar with it. So, I would, from what I know about Prodigo, it's probably very similar to it, but unfortunately, I don't know Prodigo well enough to answer that in any sort of good capacity. So, as you heard, NinjaTrader just took an automatic entry as well, and this is really neat. So I can actually go and intervene if I feel like it, and I can say, I want to widen this stop, I want to move it over here. You can, of course, close it and cancel the whole thing, but as you can see, I've got 3 positions in them with a really tight stop of 10 ticks, sort of hugging the entry price, which is right here, and I've got sort of my runner contract, if you will. So it's sort of like when these 3 guys close, I can sort of widen the stop out here and not worry too much if I get hit there. But if it hits my further profit target out here, I'll be very happy. And I think if I remember correctly, I actually programmed this, or actually configured. I should say, don't program. The ATMs aren't, you don't program them, you just configure them. I've configured the second stop here to actually trail the price when it hits certain targets. So you'll see that kind of go in the background when I talk. William's also asking, can you program Keith asking, can this be automated with Nasdaq's? Well, I mean, you can NinjaTrader. You can pretty much use any instrument you like. So I've got crude oil on right now, but you can certainly use it with stocks. You can use it with futures. You can use it with currencies. Pretty much anything that's tradable, ETFs, whatever. It doesn't matter. To NinjaTrader, it's all just a chart symbol and data, right? So it'll work with any one of those In fact, it works with multiple different brokers too. So if you've got a preference with a particular broker, it'll work with it. Chances are it will probably work with it. So by extension, BloodHound will as well. TJ is asking, so you can automate with any indicator? Yeah, basically, that's what the tool is designed to do. Igor is asking, do you have a market scanner that can match rules patterns over? Yeah. So this is really neat. But basically, what you can do is if you want to scan, say, a whole bunch of stocks. And apologize, I didn't really set up for this, but let me see if I can do this. We can use something called the market analyzer. And let me just populate this with some. I don't really have too many stocks on this computer, unfortunately, guys. I'm sorry, but let's throw what I got in here. What do I got? The Dow 30. Okay, cool. Okay, so I got the Dow 30 in there. All right, so say if I got my system all ready to go, and you can do this on whatever time frame you want, but say I've got. Let's take that. Let's just all you gotta do, guys, is just build your system, load up in BloodHound within this market analyzer, load up that template that you did earlier. So this is going to look silly because this really isn't a system. It was just an example, but I'm going to throw that in here like that, and I'm just going to plot long or buy signals at the moment. And let me just name this long signals. My system, long signals. And I guess we can sort of maybe we can configure this in any kind of way you want, but let's just say, I don't know, like turn the cell like green. It makes it pretty obvious. Okay, so that if you just heard that, but that was the auto trade in the background, just completing the trade there. Okay, let's just go take a look at it while it's doing that. Okay, so yeah, you can see the ATM, and this is again was placed automatically. It is. You can see that my runner contract, I basically moved it down. It used to be kind of up here. I moved it down to follow the prices it's going. So not only have I exited with the 3 contracts that with the 10-10 spread on there, but this one is now still on there, waiting for it to trail down and reap in a lot of money if it's one of the runners. Again, guys, this is just simulated data, so it's not like the market or anything like that. So here I can, and unfortunately, because I've got simulated data on it, I don't have any other data here. This column will not populate until I got at least 20 bars, and that's just because it needs some data to begin with, but you get the idea. This is how you set it up, and maybe as I keep talking, it will probably fill up with some signals. But we got to wait a little bit for that to happen. So I'm just now doing the short condition, and let's, when that hits red, or sorry, when that goes with what we want, we're going to go green and red. Okay, so once I hit OK, now again, like guys, they're not going to show up yet just because I need more data, and I'm on the simulated data. I don't have the data loaded here, but this is essentially how you would scan it with your own system. So you would build your own system first, use the market analyzer, and then just simply use your pipe in your system with these columns, and then you can scan the market really quickly with using your system. Okay, so let's. Oh, binary options. Sorry. Okay, thank you. I guess I'm not as recent as I should be on that stuff. But that I don't know, to be perfectly honest. That's a really good question. That's something I guess an NinjaTrader would have to answer. yeah, so I guess I won't sort of speak out of turn and give you an answer on that one. So I'm sorry about that. I really don't know. Um, okay. Can it be used for backtesting over multiple years? So absolutely. So backtesting is quite simple. And why don't I show that real quick here? Okay, um, so to backtest, same idea. NinjaTrader uses this thing called a strategy analyzer. And all you got to do is just use Raven, pick your system that you design. As you can see, I've got quite a few just kind of lying around here. And I'll go ahead and use something I built previously. All right. And I built in some entry signals, and I just select that. And in this case, let's go ahead and build in, try in a kind of a 10 bar stop. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just basically telling the system with using it to measure the stop distance with the ATRs, which is basically the average bar size. Okay, so I'm basically saying as long as you get like an average bar, you put your stops about 10 bars wide. I'm going to go ahead and I know I've got a couple of years of data in on the system, so I'm going to go from about 2010 and run it over a kind of a basket here of these couple of these instruments here. So I just hit run backtest, and again, this is something that I believe retail traders should be doing a lot more of. Is backtesting and trying out their systems and making sure and verifying that it actually does give them profit. And not only that, but what else about the system is so some of them I don't think I have the Euro USD data in there, but the system's got to be smart enough, or sorry, you've got to look at the characteristics of your system as well, and decide for yourself, are these risks that I can take, like are these drawdowns reasonable? So for example, if I traded this particular system I did over Apple, as you can see, like it made $6,000, but it also had a drawdown of 44%, and that's pretty high. So you got to have a bit of a stomach for that. And these are all things that I insist, if you're going to be serious about this business, you really got to know about your system, your trade system, because even if these numbers look great, and they do look, fairly good, these, you want to be sure that you can sit through the rough times as well, not just the good times, right? That's the key, because if you can't sit through the rough times, you're not going to be sticking around long enough to see the fruits of your labor. So, the great thing about some Ninja traders, you can actually map the equity curve here. So this one actually doesn't look too good, to be honest. Some of the equity curves here that you can go back and you can see kind of how it would have done, over a period of time. So as you can see, it peaked fairly nicely in 2011, but then didn't do so well recently. So those are sort of clues to the puzzle that I think are very useful to know when you're building a good trading system. Okay, let's go back and let's see what we got here. Can use so Peter, that I just showed you, that's how you can backtest over a couple of years. William's asking, great, although you can only trade stocks with it, looking for Forex trading. So William, you can, with NinjaTrader, like I said before, you can use stocks, Forex, you can use futures, it doesn't really matter. Sunil's asking, can it be used for range bar charts? So yeah, it does. It supports any kind of charts, and NinjaTrader supports quite a few different chart types. I'm using a tick chart, but I mean, there's no reason why it can't work on it'll use any chart type you have installed in your system, and that includes custom chart types. There's a lot of actually, we have a customer, he's using this chart type and having a tremendous amount of success for it, and the chart type is it's proprietary, so it's it's part of the system as well. But you can see this Renko here, and heck, even if you downloaded some chart types from some website somewhere, you can, if you've got it on your system, you can use it, and BloodHound will work with it without any problems. So here's the Renko and BloodHound on it. And of course, and one thing I should point out is you can also use multiple charts too. So if you're the type of trader that likes to look at maybe 2 or 3 time frames at the same time, maybe you've got your main chart, and then you've got a sort of a big brother chart. You're looking at a larger time frame. That's fairly easy to do. You just hit this chart button, and say you're looking at the 15-minute chart, and then you can add your criteria underneath this 15-minute little time frame here, and everything kind of under there will be on the 15-minute context, and it'll be pulled into your system as you would expect it to. Okay, so let's just do that. Okay. Right. Charles is asking, can you show a parabolic SAR? All right. I hope I don't make a fool of myself, because I really don't know much about the parabolic SAR, if it's an indicator or not. Let me see. There. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it is an indicator. Cool. All right. Well, I definitely haven't tried this out, but let's go ahead and see if it works. Okay. So the parabolic SAR, I'm just going to add it to the chart just to see what we're dealing with. Okay. So let's maybe we can fashion kind of a bit of a exit signal or something based off the SAR. So you could use a kind of a maybe a crossover. Let's just try that, and let's put the closing price against the parabolic SAR. And let's just take a look at that by itself. So I'm kind of going into sort of unknown territory here, so I hope I don't make a fool of myself, but let's just plug that in and see what that looks like. But you can see basically like BloodHound will work with any kind of indicator, parabolics are included. So I suppose what you could do is you could fashion a bit of an exit signal based off the parabolic SAR. If your bars like touch the SAR or cross it, so this we got this sort of red color going, when the bar goes below the SAR. Presumably that could be used as a long exit. If you're using that as kind of like almost like a stop, and so to configure that in Raven, you just simply go in and let's make that a little more clear. So I've got the SAR here, right? And I'm going to call this my exit logic. So you can actually define kind of different templates if you want. See, I've got this one here, and I just made this one the exit logic. And if you're really sharp, you can actually create like multiple templates to deal with different market situations. So if it's really choppy or something like that, you've got a different strategy, and you can trade with that. And then say, the market's like really trendy, you've got a different strategy with that. You just go up here, you can switch on the fly like this, right? So you can very quickly and with a lot of it makes you really nimble. You can go ahead and just go into different modes of trading, if you will, based off market conditions. But anyways, here we are, and I'm gonna show you what I mean by with the exit signals. I would just go in and oops, that's the wrong one. So with the Raven, so where's my PSAR? All right, with Raven, I just go in and set that to my exit logic right there, and that's essentially how you could use the PSAR as your stop if that's what your intention was. Okay, I'm sort of falling behind here. I only got a couple minutes left, so let me do this real quick here. Can it be used to pair trade 2 stocks simultaneously over multiple charts, entries, and exits? Pair trading is a little tricky. We are working towards sort of mathematical formulas where you can sort of subtract, or sorry, take two prices and do some math with it. That's just sort of on the drawing board, but it's not implemented yet. Unless, of course, you can create and thanks Toby for piping in there. Unless you can create you have a bar type that you know of that can do that, and you just simply layer BloodHound on top of that, and it'll work. Comba's asking, is this applicable to options trading as well? Options trading is a little bit of a weakness with NinjaTrader, and therefore it's a little bit of weakness with BloodHound as well. So, I mean, in terms of auto trading options, you know, NinjaTrader doesn't currently have that capability, but there's nothing to stop you from using it as a guide to enter using it, you know, so you could use this as your system, and then you just simply, you know, create the orders on the fly using your option strategies directly with your broker. So there's nothing to stop you doing that either. Peter's asking, how long has the system been available? How robust is it? Well, we've been around for a year, you know, and we're constantly evolving and constantly improving it. You know, I guess the testing is all just kind of with the proof is sort of with the users in terms of if they're using it for live trading or not. And you know, I can happily say that there's quite a few people that are using it. So, you know, that's something I guess you know, if you want to try for yourself, go ahead, and our, you know, free trial is very flexible, so you can sort of see for yourself if it's something that will work for you. Please put a link to the site on the chat. Okay, so I'm going to go in, and I think that's probably a good idea. It's probably actually to show where my website is. And Corey's asking, can you add signals from an indicator? Can you add signals from an indicator from, for example, based on a ticks to build a system? Yeah, absolutely. So you can use pretty much any indicator again, or any any indicator and any chart that's supported by NinjaTrader. If I understand, it only works on what you have on the screen. Does it not scan for strategy matches, right? William, that's not necessarily true. It doesn't work for necessarily what's on your screen. So, like I said before, you can certainly use it and not have your indicators up on the chart as well. I mean, you can definitely just you can just use BloodHound and have a clean chart. It's got its own, like when you're building your system, like it basically stores the indicators in its own internal form memory, if you will. So you don't need to paint your chart with all the indicators like I have. I've just done that just to illustrate, you know, while you're building it, it's a little easier as well. And of course you can trade many markets simultaneously with different charts. And then if you don't want to use any charts at all, I mean, you certainly can do that. You just, with NinjaTrader, you just go to your strategy section here, hit new strategies. You can put 100 of these if you want, doesn't matter. Assign it to any instrument, and there's no chart attached to it. But you know, people like to see visually kind of what's going on. But if you're okay with it, you can certainly run it blind, if you will. Okay. Your website says download 1.1. So yeah, Peter, as I said, it's been it was launched in pretty much last April. So okay. Let me just go here. So, Sunil, I believe I answered that already. Can ATMs be used for backtesting over multiple years? It's a very good question, Peter. ATMs currently aren't supported for backtesting historically, and that's unfortunately just a little bit of a limitation with NinjaTrader. But users have been getting around that by just backtesting with hard stops, and then using market replay or using going forward testing with their ATMs. That's just something we just got to wait on until NinjaTrader supports that. Okay, so finally we're just getting Stephen to ask, and you know what the website is, and it's just Shark Indicators, and I just want to go over that thanks for sticking with me through this whole presentation. I really appreciate it. Especially the fact it's a holiday tomorrow, and honestly, I didn't know what to expect in terms of turnout. So as sort of a gratitude for you sticking it out all the way to the end, I'm going to offer you guys a coupon code that that I'm going to show you just really quickly how to enter. But essentially we have 3 different versions of the software, and they sort of come with different levels of capability. The standard version, allows you sort of that first screen that you saw here. which is the ability to just list your criteria kind of in a list like this format. But if you want to do like some advanced logic like this, the professional version will support being able to do this. And finally, the ultimate version uses these really fancy function nodes, which may not mean much to you right now, just sort of being introduced to BloodHound, but certainly when you're building really complicated systems and whatnot, they're very handy for shortcutting a lot of stuff and also building things that simply aren't possible with just and or nodes and your regular nodes. So anyways, what I'm getting at is, I'm sorry guys, I tend to sidetrack a lot, is I've got a coupon code for you guys that's good till the end of the month. Should you decide to take advantage of it. And don't worry, I mean, if you don't know the system, like, we have excellent support. Just ask any of our customers. If you need help building something and want to learn it, we got one-on-one consultations. We have a webinar that runs every Friday as well. It's a workshop, and in fact, tomorrow we got one as well. We basically can train you on how to use our software and build it. And just as soon as I sort of show you where you put the coupon code, because some people have problems finding it, but when you pop open this cart, it's just right here. The coupon code is TradingPub, and it will take off 20%. Okay, so that's good till the end of the month. And what I was getting at with with learning this system and whatnot is, we will handhold you through learning it. And for some people it's very simple; they pick it up right away. For others, they find it's a bit of a learning curve, but that's not a problem though, because we have not only, if you want one-on-one consultations, which currently are free for customers, we also allow, or we have a lot of short, bite-sized sort of videos and tutorials, documentation on our website, examples, and this is where I was getting at before with, I think someone asked, are there any sort of pre-built systems? Well, we actually we have a bunch of systems built scattered throughout our site, but they're all sort of congregated in our download section here. We go to downloads, and if you go to BloodHound templates, they're all here. And some of these are pretty decent systems, but I guess we sort of take it a step further in terms of we also teach you how to build them from scratch. And so a lot of all these templates have some sort of lesson or whatnot attached to them, and those lessons are in our site. But if you're just looking for the systems themselves, you can certainly just download them here, and then you just load them up here. So Toby's asking me to mention all the examples of the videos. Yeah, okay. So William, I hope I answered your question. It will scan a list of the markets then. Yes, yeah. So the market analyzer that I showed you, you can scan multiple markets and multiple instruments. So Neil, can we upgrade to higher grades? Yes, absolutely, you sure can upgrade, no problem. You just pay the difference in price, really. So yeah, so essentially you're not stuck with anything. You can certainly upgrade. Just shoot us an email. We'll upgrade you. Not a big deal. Okay, so. Bill is asking, can we listen on the workshop tomorrow? Well, like I said, the workshop is for customers. We do have sort of another workshop next week on Thursday, actually. Thursday at 4:30. I think it's on our website here. Sorry, guys. If you go to our where's our webinars? All right, let's go back to the home page here. You can go to sign up to the webinars. And we do have a sign up here for, this one's already been passed, but we have one on April 4th as well, and those are good to go for non-customers as well, and we'll go over some sort of material. But the advanced trading workshops is for customers. Okay. Yes. So the coupon code is TradingPub, and do you need to learn NinjaScript? William's asking. No, absolutely not. That's the whole point of this system, is to be able to build these systems without knowing how to use NinjaScript. If, however, you happen to be one of those very few that do know how to use NinjaScript, you can absolutely use that to your advantage here. And if you're really savvy, we've got some great examples on how you can integrate your own custom coded logic together with BloodHound sort of real-time interface and put the two together really to build something really fast and flexible and whatnot. So that, just to let you know, it is possible, but for the most part, the whole system was designed in mind for people that don't know how to code. TJ is asking about lifetime license. So yes, TJ, obviously you've probably heard of us before. We switched from the lifetime licenses now to a more traditional software model, which is basically when you purchase BloodHound, you get basically a year of free updates. And meaning you can upgrade your software as much as we're adding features. And if you talk to some of our customers, like we don't sort of blow through version numbers to impress people, and like people are like, why aren't you in version 2 yet? Well, we've added a lot since we started, and we like to be very conservative with the version numbers, just because that's just the way when we completely revamp the interface, maybe we'll go to version 2, but we're quite happy right now with just the way we're going about it right now. But anyways, what I'm getting at is, a year free updates allows you to upgrade to whatever version you have, our latest version out there, and then afterwards, after the free sort of update period, you can optionally decide to get the latest version by just renewing a maintenance instead of sort of buying the product again, and that maintenance cost is only 25% of the sticker price. So the product will continue to work. Certainly without the upgrade, you don't have to upgrade. It's just an option, and it's just if you want to have access to the new features that we're building into it, you can do that with the maintenance, the little maintenance thing. So what TJ is sort of referring to is original model. We had a lifetime license at $8.95, so we've definitely transitioned from that to a more traditional model. Okay, Charles. Hey, Charles. I've been using BloodHound for a short while, and say the customer support is top notch. Thank you, Charles. I'm really happy to see you there. And Toby, yeah, that's true. We do have we do have a YouTube channel too. All the stuff is actually linked. All the videos are linked onto our site in some way or another. But if you'd like, I mean, you can also go straight to YouTube and Shark Indicators, and that's our YouTube channel there. So we've got a bunch of videos up there as well. Is your system built using NinjaScript? It's built using .NET and C#, which, I mean, if you want to get really technical, NinjaScript is basically .NET. It's .NET coding. So yes, I guess you could almost argue that it is. It certainly uses a heck of a lot more than what NinjaScript can offer in terms of, it uses the full library of the power of .NET to build it. So it's it's one, it's how you describe it, but NinjaScript is C# and it is .NET based, so yes. How will you upgrade license for the forthcoming NinjaTrader 8? So, basically, if you're on the maintenance and if you're entitled to the free download or the free updates, you'll naturally get the version 8 included with it. As we move to it. So NinjaTrader hasn't announced anything for NinjaTrader 8. They haven't even released anything to us, their partners or anything. They're not already in a beta, so I think it's still a little ways away. If I remember correctly, NinjaTrader 7 was in beta for over a year, I think. It was a long time. So certainly when they get out, NinjaTrader 8 will be focusing our development efforts on making sure it works properly with NinjaTrader 8. It should work for it will work for NinjaTrader 7 regardless. So Charles is asking if BloodHound is an annual subscription. No, Charles, it's not a subscription. What it is it's like all right. Say you got Office 2010. right? You buy it. When 2013 comes out, normally you'd have to pay the full price for 2013. Well, we decided instead of sort of gouging people like that, well, instead of paying the full amount, or actually, I guess you could say our upgrade price will be 25%, right? So it's optional. The product will work regardless if you upgrade or not. Just like if you had 2010, you could be using it, well into 2015 or later. It doesn't matter. It still work. It'll still open up. So same idea. So it's not a subscription, right? A subscription implies that when your subscription runs out, you can't use your software. That's not the case with us. It's just simply when you buy it. If you want to update it, you can be on the maintenance plan, but it's optional. Okay. Peter's asking, using your ultimate version, you said I can use NinjaScript with your system. Can I access an external ODBC database to access other data? I mean, yeah, absolutely, Peter, you certainly can. So NinjaScript, again, is like C#, and if you got an ODCB database and you know how to hook it up using your C# contracts. Now, just to let you know, that is a little bit outside the scope of our support in terms of custom building, especially data access and that sort of thing. But I'm assuming that you sound like you obviously know what you're doing. So absolutely, you certainly can with NinjaScript. It's because using C# and you're using .NET libraries, you could use pretty much any kind of data source you want, code it yourself. So it's very flexible. TJ, is there phone support? Yeah, absolutely. We got a phone number there, and you can either use the phone support or so there's our phone number there. But actually, the best way we find is when you become a customer, you can sign up for a one-on-one. Okay, so you go to contact us, and you go. This is a little green button here. It says book an appointment. You press it. It takes you to a little charting system, and this is the best way we find to do it. So we can allot you a good hour if you want, and you can have your questions sort of answered on a one-on-one basis. And we find that's better than just sort of calling the phone number and whatnot. It sort of gives us the time to prepare and gives both parties sort of ample time to prepare and get ready. So I sort of preface it and say this phone number is really kind of more on a sales, more for sales inquiries and whatnot, and partnership inquiries. But like with our one-on-one, we'll actually set up a go-to-meeting and we'll actually have a we can share screens and whatnot. And Zach's our product schedule specialist. He's really good at helping you out in that situation. Otherwise, as some existing customers can sort of attest to, and our support is pretty good in terms of we'll get back to you within one business day and often much sooner. But if you go to our support center, it's all run by the Zendesk engine.
Yeah, we really appreciate you being
that
here.
keeps track of your tickets and keeps track of our responses. And we got a forum there as well, and questions and answers and that sort of thing. So so we have quite a few avenues to help you out. And like I said, we don't leave you kind of, we handhold you through a lot of stuff if you like that, or a lot of our guides as well.
All right, good deal. Well, again, thanks, Jeremy. We appreciate you being here and being a part. And two, guys, if you haven't seen some of the cool guest posts, Jeremy does a weekly post.
It's good for 20% off, folks. Sorry, guys. I should probably mention that as well. Good for 20% off.
All right, good deal. So again, we'll get a copy of this added for you. We appreciate you guys being here, and we will get a copy of the recording posted on our website, hopefully very soon. So thanks again, Jeremy. Thanks to everyone for being here.